All right, so we have our timeline. So we're going to come in, we're going to choose whatever timeline we're working on. This one says approved master, but presumably it says our CD 0816_09US, right? So I don't want to change the name of it here, but if we did, we would name that. No spaces, no underscore, or no dashes. There has to be underscores all together, right? So I double click this. It now loads into my timeline. So I want to insert a video 1 into my timeline. So I'm going to right click in my timeline and choose video 1. I just did it wrong. So if I choose new video track, it'll bring up a new video track at the top. That's not what I wanted at all. So what I'm going to do,
hold the phone and you do that?
I could do that. Actually, hold down, hold down, go ahead and click, right click and choose new video track. This is the only time that I have to do that. New video track, yep, there you go. Try it one more time, there she goes. So I'm holding down, yep, click that. So what I did is on this happens to be a PC keyboard, but on a Macintosh, I would hold down the Option key. So Option key and clicking new video track gives me a, hey, what new video track do you want? You say, I want video track number 1. Right there. So I hit OK there, and it goes, well, I've already got a video track number 1. As we look down here, we see video track number 1. You say, that's correct. Go ahead and insert that bad boy. So it pops it in, and now I've got an empty video 1 track, which is great. So now I'm going to go to video black. So I can either have had this in my bin already, or I can go to Interplay window, and I can type video black, VIDEO, no space, BLACK, video black. So there's our video black. I double click it, bam, it's loaded. It's nice, it's beautiful, 7.5 IRE, love it. So drop it down here. So now I'm just going to keep dropping it down. So I'm going to make sure none of my other video layers are turned on, just like that. Drag it down and then hit overwrite lots of times. Right, there's the end of my show. Just going to back up and trim that bad boy back in a little bit. Marking in, marking out, kill it, right? So now I have video black up under everything. Because if I accidentally dip the black, that would be a bad thing when I send this video to playback. Okay, so now I'm done with that. Now I need to make sure I look at my audio tracks. Presumably my audio tracks are already good to go. I've got already got my audio mixed down, everything's in place. So right now I hit solo. We got solo and it muted the other ones. What we talked about in class is let's go ahead and mute these manually. Just there's no room for error here. And we leave this guy open. So of course we push play, make sure there's actual audio there. Hear our good friend Tone, go into the sequence, push play on it. Make sure I got lip sync capacitor.
Wonderful history, great hallelujah.
Okay, sounds good. So now I need to go through and I need to make sure all of my titles and my slate are proper. So I, as an editor, am a professional. So I'm going to go in and check and make sure everything's proper. In this instance, it says master, so it's correct. Obviously, if it was a US version, we would stick it there. If we were redoing it, we would do a dash simply a V2, V1, V2 at the end of it. So my TRT is always important. Scroll through, and I'm just looking at my graphics all the way through, right? Making sure every time I see a graphic, I back it up a little bit. So we're doing a good job making sure our QCing our footage here, right? Make sure when that graphic kicks in, it's nice and clean. Obviously that didn't paint across properly because it's not rendered. That's okay. That maybe means we need to render it before we do this. So when I push play on all this stuff, okay, looks good. So I'm going to actually go ahead and take a second and render everything. The benefit of rendering everything is, number one, these graphics will be happier. And number two, I'll have rendered everything and I won't have to think about it ever again. So I can right click on it and choose render into out. What render into out will do is it'll render every block of video, no questions asked. Or expert render. What expert render will do is it'll only render the top layer as necessary. So I can render the entire selection. I can choose to run in the background, and then I can move to the next sequence if I want to. For the sake of argument, I'm going to just hit OK. So this is going to render out, and it's going to do all our magic. So this is going to take 7 to 10 minutes. If I did it in the background, I could do something else. I'm going to hit Command period and stop this right now, just because I'm not a very patient person. So we're going to discard what's already there. I'm going to go back to another sequence that I already had open. Oh, I didn't have that. So we're going to be like a cooking show here. We're going to talk to things as if it's already done. So we're going to pretend this is already rendered. Of course, we want to make sure all of our green dots are missing all in our timeline. We may have some green dots down below, but as long as this big title is a green dot, everybody's happy. Again, make sure my audio tracks are correct. I've confirmed and made sure all of my overlays are correct. I've checked the back end of my show to make sure all my graphics and spots are all in the right spot. And now I'm ready to send it off to broadcast. So I'm ready to send it off to VCS. So all I have to do now is I click on the sequence and I right click on it. And then I choose send to. So when I come in, I choose send to. And I come down and it says VCS 4x3. There'll also be a VCS 16x9 on each system. It comes up. There's my approved master. I need to make sure this name is proper, right? Make sure it's named something more intelligent than approved master, or no spaces is more important. So I'm going to call it my test. But in a perfect world, it would match the sequence perfectly. That way later on when somebody references, hey, this file is not right, I know exactly what they're talking about. We make sure the destination is volumes, production, Avid workflows, send to VCS 4x3. My QuickTime reference setting is here, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. Marks and tracks are disabled. Digital mastering is turned on. Flatten video tracks, which means render. Render all video tracks, which means continue to render. Display aspect ratio in this aspect is 4x3. Mix down my audio tracks is wave. Don't do AIFF, bad things happen. Audio codecs, use Avid codecs rather. I don't have to check that. I choose 601. I hit OK. Theoretically, I didn't have to hit options on there, but we did it for the sake of the video. And then I hit OK. What this is going to do now is, if it didn't render it, it is going to render it. But I get no option to render the background, which is annoying. So I would have just wasted 5 minutes of my life, or if I was going to go run dinner anyway, or lunch, it's fine. Once it did the export, it then does an audio file output, and then it sends it on its way to Telestream. So I'll do a video in a second that shows you how to open up Telestream and check its status. But that video file pretty much just went straight to my ISIS drives. So on I'm going to look at the ISIS drives here. I'm going to look at my connected servers. If I go to my ISIS drive, it's on production. It's in a folder called Avid Workflows. Inside Avid Workflows, it says send to VCS 4x3. And then here is our file that we created. Actually, I canceled it, so it's not actually there. But these files are here. There's an MOV file and a WAV file attached to it. If I open up this QuickTime file, it didn't open up in the right application that I wanted to. So if I open up this QuickTime file, then I can see in its entirety it's there, even though the QuickTime file is really tiny, 306 kilobytes. But it's all right there.
And receive. All right, now
it's going to get converted, it's going to get tested, it's going to get sent to QC, and get moved on its way.